That's interesting. Corner. Alright folks, doing a little sheet metal work here, and I picked this up, oh I don't know, it's been several years ago, maybe 4. And never used it before today, and of course I got stuff in the way. Oh, it is. So I was in the way. I'd never actually used it prior to now, so let's see how this does. You can bring it over here, Ben. Alright. So I got my scribe line. Looks to be about right. Let's see. It looks rusty. It doesn't look like it's going to do anything. Will it do something? Very nice. So what we're making is a cover. So it'll be a C-shaped cover that'll go over the top of it, and then I'll make a panel for the front and back. And so the front will have a cutout for the shaft. I'll have to cut this side out for the other shaft later. But that'll be easy to do here in just a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I base this off of having a 6-inch piece. Well, this piece was already 7.5 and looked like it'd be a pretty straight cut. And so we got 2.5, so 1.25 inch. So I'm going to make a flange that's 1.25 inch. It's going to be a little overkill. You know what? I'm not sure how well this would do. Making a long cut like this on a small piece is kind of difficult because as it gets further out here, it's wanting to grab and bend. And so I'd rather just make this work. All right. So this is cut to 21.25. And so, you know, I have a 6-inch piece, a 6-inch piece, and then a 9.25 inch piece. And so let's just lay that out. Let's just lay that out. All right, that's it. And this, you know, it doesn't have to be super accurate because it's sheet metal. All right, so there's 6. And I think I will probably spot weld this all together when it's all said and done. Alright, there's 6. Okay. And then read me roughly 9.25 if my calculations are correct. Yeah, 9.25, great. All right, and so gonna be 1.25. Man, that's gonna be an awful big lip, but you know, whatever. Yeah. Okay. Here. I really enjoy doing sheet metal. I haven't done it in quite a while, and you know, I really enjoy the process of it. It's not super difficult. It's just like everything else, you know, it takes a little bit of planning for things to come out. Quarter, 1 1/4. And so now I need a straight edge. Let me go grab a straight. Go ahead and pause that. All right, so I got a straight edge. So I'm just laying it up on my marks, making a scribe. Looks good. Do it to the other side. There's that one. There's that one. All right. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so let's double check. So this should be 6 inches, or 5 inches, I mean. Yeah, so I actually am going to bend one of them a little. Pause it. All right, so I'm just a hair off on my 5 inches. Like, well, more than a hair off. Yeah, I'm 1/8 of an inch off. Okay, not a big deal because we've got a lot here to play with. So I'm going to move this, you know, just put myself a little annotation on here. 1/8. All right. So not a big deal. And then, so wherever we have a bend, well, we need to have a cutout so that we have a nice little miter edge. So let me just do this. Oops. Which one of those is right? Here. Try not to screw this one up. There we go. Do the same with this. Okay. So if you're just starting out in the whole hobby, woodworking, metalworking, hobby, anything, get you a combination square. Get you a good one. This is actually a Stanley. I picked it up at the yard sale, I think for $2. Yep, $2. Don't get a Harbor. I mean, Harbor Freight is okay, all right, but it's not going to be square, right? I mean, it's going to be close, but it's not going to be square. If you get an older one made, you know, in the 70s, it's going to be good. Starrett, good quality, but you know they'll run you upwards of $100. You know, these Stanleys, and you know there's other equally good names that you know can be found at a yard sale, garage sale, flea market, again for less than $10. Get one, get two, get three. I don't know how many I own. I can only ever find one at a time though. All right, we'll be back in just a second. Ready? All right, folks, so I've got a set of metal shears. All right, and these come in 3 different colors: yellow, green, and red. So yellow is a straight cutting, and the others are made for shearing radiuses. And it does make a difference. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to get as close as I can. And I can always, if this isn't just right, I can always come in with a file and adjust the lip a little bit. And then, you know, if you're working with sheet metal, you really should wear gloves. I should be wearing gloves. The odds are I'm probably going to wind up cutting myself somewhere along the lines. Come on. Let me get just a little further. Alright, now. Probably should have just went ahead and tried to cut this to my 6 inches, but if I screw it up, I got plenty of this. We picked up a whole bunch of scrap sheet metal off the marketplace last year sometime. When was it, Beth? Remember?
2 years ago.
I don't think it's been that long. Maybe a year. And if you're wondering right now, like, what is going on, it'll all become apparent in just a minute. Alright, so there we go. We've got all of our cuts made on this. Now we're going to go over to the finger brake and we'll bend all this. Back in a minute. Alright folks, so this is a little 3-in-1 jobby that Harbor Freight sells, and they're pretty useful. They have limitations, right? I actually tried to shear this and it started, and then it, you know, just like I was talking about, where it would grab and pull. So yeah, this didn't have enough to cut that. But what this does is it's got a slip roll up here. It's called a 3-in-1. And so with slip rolls, I can make, if I were to put this in there and run it through the slip rolls, right, it would make it into a circle, right? And you can do the same with wire, pipe, whatever, right? Now granted, you know, you're not going to do any pipe with this because this is really limited. But, all right, so slip roll on top, it has a shear on the bottom, and you can see the shear action here. And like I said, you know, for lightweight, small projects, this works fairly well. I mean, I've used it quite a few times in the past and done some good stuff. All right. Now it also has what's called a finger brake. And you know, well, what's a finger brake? A finger brake are these. Each of these is a finger, right? And so this is the biggest one, then this is the next biggest, and you see they get progressively smaller. So with that, I can take a finger out and I can actually bend. And so the first thing that we're going to do is, we're not using it as a finger brake but as a brake. We're going to bend along here, and then we're going to do the same thing on this edge, right? And what that does is it folds it up, and so Now when I go to bend this, you know, these little edges are not going to get in the way because I can find a finger that's really close, or a combination of fingers that's really close to that. Use those, set them in the middle, all right, and then bend it up, and then I don't have any issues with it hitting the edge of my workpiece. All right, so finger brakes are really handy. Over there I have a 4-foot finger brake that is in need of a little love, and that is on my list of projects here pretty darn soon. The fact is, I wish I had it today because I'd sure use it. Alright, and so looks like I'm lined up, and I'm going to go on the back. Ed, can you hold this up? I just want to go on the back side. I got a little bit of run out on my line there, and I want to make sure I hold it up, please. And I want to make sure that it's not terribly off. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think it'll be fine. And again, I'm doing a fairly long piece here yeah, that's fine. Alright. Bring it all the way down. And so, there you have it. And this end, but that's easy to fix. You know, I can basically, once we're done, I can lightly tap that down with a piece of wood or whatever, and it'll be perfectly good. And or I could actually just, why don't I do that? I'm going to stick it back through, and I'm going to put this end down here. There we go. That straightened it up nicely. Alright, now this, and I think what I want to do is I want to lay this, let me just scoot that around so you can watch me. Just stay right there and just, yeah. So I want to go 1/8 of an inch beyond. You can see where my line is, and I'm just a little bit shy. Now it would still work, right? I could basically force it on there and it would just bow it out a little bit, but we're at a point where we can make this adjustment with no problem. And so let's do that. All right. And so here we go. And it's going to be all right. All right, we're going to go for it. We'll see. All right. And we had the same problem we had on the last one, it looks like. Yeah, so. So there we go. And like I said, you know, this machine does have its limitations, but you know, if it's all you got, it's all right. And so this combination of these two brakes are going to be all we need. And so what I'll do is, we're not bending anything great, so I'm going to pull this one and I'm going to pull that little one, and then and the way this works is, loosen that, loosen that, loosen that. See, that one just popped right out, no problem. And then go. All right, and then just slide this right in through there. Now you see if I had, let's see if I was trying to do it here. Well, shoot, I can't do it, right? I mean, I suppose I could come in like this, but then when I get close to the full depth, this is going to be impinging upon it. And so that is the advantage of this finger brake, is that that finger is just small enough to fit in the middle. And need to bring that in just a little bit. Wow, I cut that one way wide. That one looks good. I'm not sure what happened there. Oh well. There's going to be another panel that goes in there, so I mean it's not. And this is mine, so it doesn't really matter. All right. Same thing back here. That'll be the back side. So as we close that up, now the true test is, does it fit? Now keep in mind that I still have to account for this, and I'll take care of that here in just a minute. But yeah, that's going to fit on there very nicely. So, all right, well let's go ahead and figure out how we're going to do this. Alright, and so alright, so I think we're just going to do it by dead reckoning. Right. Give me a break. Let me get set up here, and I'll kind of walk you through what I'm going to do. Alright, so what I've got here is a straight edge, or more or less a straight edge, and I'm just looking at this. Alright, and so yeah, looks like 1 5/8 is the center. Pretty darn close. Let's see if I can. Let's tell you what, let's take this up on a flat surface where we don't have stuff bouncing around. You can stop it for a second. Alright. Okay. Alright, so it looks like 1 11/16. Yeah. 5/8. 1 11/16. So alright. Left to right. And then looks like yeah, 3 9/16 up. So 3 9/16 up. All right. So now, just stay right there. All right. So now, if I were going to be precise about this, you know, I have to take into account the thickness of the metal, which, you know, I don't even know, it's pretty negligible. So we're not going to worry about that too much. All right, so up 3 9/16. All right, and so go up here, and I know that's not going to hold there because so 3 9/16 is there. And then we got 1 11/16. I should have got my, alright, so 11/16. Alright, and so this is where we want to put our hole, in theory. Alright. So I'm looking at that. Let's look at the height first. Alright. And actually I think I want to take it down just a hair. Okay. And then, yeah. And then if I do it like this, use my straight edge again. And so I get my straight edge on here. And that is not looking like it's correct. So, good thing that we did that. Yeah. Good thing we did that. So that's edge to edge. Now, wait a second now. So we weren't terribly far off. But, alright. Well, let me get my square. Be right back. Alright, so let's put our square on here. Now again, our edges might not be perfectly square, but the fact is it probably is not perfectly square. Let's do it from the top. Yeah. All right. And then we come here, right? Well, one measurement was good, the other was way off. I don't know why. All right, so it's not X, but it's a cross. Marks the spot. All right, and I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. That way I don't have to be spot on. Let me grab my spot, please. All right, so I put a center punch mark right there at the cross, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to use a unibit, and that way I can just keep. If I don't have a high sense of fidelity on how accurate this is going to be, so if I need to keep expanding a hole, I can just go another hole in. All right, let me bring this over and let's see. Let's see if we did okay. All right, I'll be right back. All right, folks. Let's see how this turned out. There we go. so yeah, I think that's pretty good. I could have been further over. In fact is, I'm going to step over. So yeah, I'm going to have to open that up just a little bit more with the unibit. Because I'm going to put a panel here, right? So yeah, I'll open that up one more step on the unibit. It'll be fine. All right, so the panel's going to be 5 7/8 by 9 1/4. So I've got this set, and I'm going to go ahead and probably cut the 9 1/4, and then I'll cut this. And let's do 9 1/4. Where is my 9? So somewhere around in here. Do our 9 1/4. Man, I can barely read this thing. It needs help. There it is. Right. Mark it here. All right, so I'm going to cut that first. What am I hitting on back there? Oh, back flange. Yeah, some of the professional sheet metal guys are probably cringing just watching me do this, but you know. It looks pretty close. Let's see here. I think it's close enough. Alright, so there's that one. And then we got to cut this down to our 5 7/8. I think we're close. That one's good. That one looks good. So let's check it. and 7/8. Looks pretty good. Alright, so I think this one we will, we'll put the hole in for the spindle. Alright, so let's go back over there. Alright, so I've got this lined up. That looks good. And then I'm just going to stand it up. So that got me my left to right. And then when I stand this up, that is going to give me my height. Alright, so now I'll take my combination square, cross it, and I think this time I'll go ahead and put a small drill through it first. I'll center punch it, I'll put a small drill through it, and then I'll do the unit bit so that it doesn't drift like it did on that last one. So. All right. Alright, I'm going to grab a small bit and I'll be right back. Alright folks, if you are drilling sheet metal, wear gloves. Alright, I could get away with not wearing gloves to the other because, you know, I had all those folded edges, but man, I had it happen to me one time where the drill caught, and I mean, it was 10 stitches later. It really sucked. So if you're drilling sheet metal, wear gloves. All right, so that one's a little more centered. And now we'll unibit it. We'll unibit it. That's probably good. Let's go test it. All right, so there we go. I'll probably take it one more step on the unibit, just so I got a little bit more clearance. You know, we didn't get it perfect, but we were pretty darn close. So I'm going to take it one more step on the unibit, and then I'm going to clean up the edges of this and the other, and trying to think if I have an open 220 outlet that I can, maybe we'll just screw it together. Yeah, I think I will. I think I'll just screw it together. I got some small self tappers. All right, folks, so I had to adjust this, and we had to bring it on out large enough for that. I don't mind it. It actually looks like I intended it to be that way. I didn't, but whatever. It looks like I intended it that way. And you see I've got my marks here, and so I'm just going to pre-drill. I've got some number 8 self tappers by, I don't know how thick these are, 1/2 inch. Be all we need. If over time, you know, they get kind of stripped, I can jump up to a number 10. So, you know, I think it's good. So now we're just going to drill all these. All right. So there we go. Just get this out of the way. 50,000 square foot shop and it would never have enough room. Alright, there it is. I have some rubber feet on order for it. Yeah, I don't know what the heck is behind there. Something. I'll have to step that one down a little bit, I guess. But I'll look on. I can't see anything. I don't know what would be there. I don't know. But I mean, that's super stable. And like I said, I'm going to wind up. I may take that cable off and shorten it a great deal. And then we'll screw that on there with some self-tappers as well. And man, that thing ain't going nowhere. All right, so I still have to figure out a table for this. And I have some ideas, but I haven't fleshed them out yet. And so, you know, that'll be for tomorrow. Hey folks, all right, so we're wrapping up. Got the case pretty much complete on this. I did do a couple holes here, a couple matching holes in the top, and I'm going to basically screw this down to this so it'll actually be an integral part of this. I'm going to go ahead and take it all back apart, and I'm going to paint everything, and then I'll reassemble it back on. And you know, I shouldn't need to take it apart unless, you know, something bad happens, but you know, hopefully nothing bad happens. I guess if it does, you know, it does. But so is it perfect? No. You know, it's a little bit cattywampus, but you know, does it work? It certainly does. And will it do what I need to do? Yes. So next thing I have to think about is a table and table trunnions, and I have an idea. I just haven't got around to doing that just yet. So that'll be coming up here later on today. So keep watching. Back in a few seconds for you. Hey folks, welcome back to Dr. D in the Dungeon. And we finally got our lapping discs in, at least 2 of the 3. And I'm putting together my final idea for the table. And you know, just to kind of do a proof of concept, I 3D printed out a couple of these. And basically what I'm going to do is these will be mounted under the table like so, and I've got some flat bar stock that's going to come on the outside here, and then just, you know, a large nut, you know, a hand wheel, if you will, that'll provide friction. And so that'll give, you know, a fairly large footprint for friction lock, and I think it'll be fine. Now I could set this up in the CNC mill and mill these out, but you know, I'm a much better manual machinist than I am a CNC machinist. I'm still learning. So I'm going to probably just take this on the bandsaw and cut out the rough proportions, and then I actually have an end mill that'll make this this contour, and then the rest of it I'll probably just take off on the band sander, or excuse me, the belt sander. All right, back in a few. Thanks. folks, so I've got this piece just chucked up, and I've got an end mill that's roughly the diameter to match that contour. It's not a center cutting end mill. I just lowered it down until it touched, and I maneuvered it in to where it matches that contour pretty well. Not perfectly, but well enough. I mean, it's just cosmetic. It doesn't actually mean anything. And I've set my 0-0. Now I'm going to start it up in low range, and I'll move off so I can just plunge cut. And so let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah, it's not a center cutting end mill. Hopefully this is rigid enough for me to do this. I guess if it's not, I'll ruin it. I'm just cut my vise. And I'll just keep stepping it in until it's done. And I'm going to put you on time lapse as I do this. Alright folks, so I got the contours cut, I got the end squared up, and you know, I've got them stacked up nicely. I'm going to go ahead and drill the pivot hole, number 7 drill, because I'm going to actually tap that as a 1/4-20. And so the way this will work, the bowl will come through the back side, and then it'll go through the arms that extend off the side, and then there'll be a large hand wheel, hand nut on the side of it. So anyhow, this way they're both in the same position, and so that'll minimize, you know, warping, not necessarily warping, but torsioning of the wheel. All right, here we go. And I'm not going to drill all the way through the second one because the end of my vise. I didn't quite have enough room to get it off the ground, but once I'm through the first one, which I just went through, I'll go ahead and we're just going to stop right there, and I'll finish it up in a drill press. Alright, back in a few. Hey folks, welcome back. All right, so we've got these sanded down. They're a matched pair now. They're really, really close. There's just a couple thousandths off of that leg, just a little thicker. Makes no difference, but looking pretty good. I've laid this out, and now I'm basically drilling, and then we're countersinking so that our 1/4-20 screws will sit down in there flush. So here we go. You can probably slow it down a little bit, but so now what we'll do is we're going to lay these out underneath. I'll clamp them, I'll mark them, and then we'll drill this hole, and then we'll drill the final hole in situ. It'll be in place. Alright. Alright, we're getting ready to finish up the table. Like I said, I locked these in, and you know, I got a nice flush fit. The other side, there's just a little bit of hole over there. I might stick it back in the mill and mill this flat, but I probably won't. It's not going to make any real difference. So then what I did is I tucked it up, and then, you know, I basically moved 1.5 inches over, went ahead and drilled both with a number 7, and I literally have just moved this back and forth. Calico, get off the door, please. And you can see right here I've got a little stop so that, you know, I can set these in the same place. So I'm going to go ahead and take the table back apart. I'm going to tap the trunnions, and then I'm going to countersink the table itself. And I might just go ahead and countersink this as it is because it's already in place. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and countersink that, and we'll just put you on time lapse. This will be a little bit of time, but it won't take long. All right, folks, I think it's going to wrap this for the evening, and probably for this video. Hopefully this one's a little shorter than the others. But we got the table assembly all done, got the trunnions, and like I said, I did have to go buy, but you know, just a piece of hot rolled flat stock. And so what we're going to do is I will bolt this to the side of the frame at the appropriate height, and I don't know what that is as of yet. And then, like I said, I'll have a 1/4 inch bolt that comes through this, and then a hand wheel on the other side, and that's how we'll tighten it up, and we'll be able to get our angles that we need. So hopefully you've enjoyed this content. This has been a real blast to make, and you know, a lot of things have been kind of challenging to do, you know, but again, like I said, I wound up hand grinding these and using a bandsaw to cut out the gross things, and then, you know, I use that larger end mill to cut those profiles, and I think it turned out really nice. You know, and I got it pretty straight, actually. It's always good when you get it straight. So anyhow, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.